Welcome, my name is Colleen Tauke and I'm the sewing specialist here at Fons and Porter. In this Sew Easy tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make 8 at a time triangle squares. We are going to start off with 2 squares of fabric that are the same size. Now the math for this, you can visit our website and you can find the math if you want to make 8 at a time, what size square to start with. But here's the basics of how this whole technique works. Now whenever you're making a quilt, like the one behind me, you can see that there are a lot of triangle squares in the project and you would like to make them as fast and efficient as possible. So you take those 2 squares and using a 1/4 inch seam marker, we can place it diagonal across the block, corner to corner, mark along both sides of the tool. This will be our stitching line when we take it to the sewing machine. And again, we're going to mark in both directions. So we're lining it up again, diagonally across the block. And you would want to mark on the back side of the lightest piece of fabric so that you can see easily. If you're happen to be using 2 dark fabrics, you'll want to use a white ceramic pencil or something that you can see. But on this one, we can use the navy blue. Now that we've got it marked, we're going to take it to the sewing machine and we're going to stitch on those lines. And I'm going to line the blocks up so they're right one over the top of the other. And I've got my needle in the center position so that I can just follow my marked line. When we approach the far side, instead of breaking thread, you can slow down, get real close to the end. We're going to leave the needle in the down position, pivot, and stitch kind of across the road here to the other side of the block here, of the other line. Pivot again with needle down, and finish out that diagonal. Now there are a lot of times when you're making triangle squares 2 at a time, and that seems great until you get to a quilt where you have a lot of repeats and you need, say, 8 at a time, 8 triangle squares that all match of the same fabric. Now our breaking thread, we're going to stitch the other direction also. Position our needle right at the edge of the squares. You can sit down and mark a lot of pieces at once so that you could just chain one after the other. You can make hundreds of triangle squares this way. Just watch your color combination so that you get the right combination that you need or are desired for your pattern. And we're going to follow that last line. Again, I didn't break thread when I got to the far side. I just jumped across. Now we can break thread, take it out of the machine. And you can see that I've stitched both directions, kind of like a railroad tracks across the block. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some cutting. Let's get our ruler. We always have a collection of rulers in our sewing room. And the 8x14 is really great for this one. Reaches across my block. So just pick the ruler that's the correct size for your block. Now I've set this on a rotating mat because I'm going to be cutting in a lot of different directions and I always want to be cutting away from myself. So I'm going to line this up, open my rotary blade, cut right down between the lines, one direction. Not moving any pieces. I want everything to stay aligned, so I'm just rotating that mat. If you don't have a rotating mat, you could use a small one and just rotate that. Now I'm going to take this back to center. What I need to do is cut this block in half. And now this one happens to be an 8-inch block. So 4 inches, 1, 2, 3, 4, is my center here. Whoops, scoot it out just a tiny bit. Back into line. Rotate the mat one more time, and we're going to be cutting again 4 inches right down the middle so that we will yield 8 triangle squares, all of the same color combination. And you can see there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, whenever you're working with triangle squares, we usually take them to the pressing and press flat, and then press the seam allowances toward the darker fabric. So our seam allowances don't have a shadow effect underneath. And once you get them all pressed, you're going to have the magic of 8 at a time triangle squares. Perfectly aligned, ready to go into your nice patchwork quilt. So you can go on to the next pieces. Thanks for joining me today. If you'd like to see more of our Sew Easy techniques, please visit our website.